Hey everyone, welcome back to Magically Unstable. I'm Kurt.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Nicole.
And we are here to talk about Disney.
And our anxiety.
And that's why we're magically unstable.
Oh, Jesus.
Let's do that one more time.
Or we can just keep that whole thing.
Oh my God, that made me lightheaded. Oh my God.
I'm Kurt.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Nicole.
And we are here to talk about Disney.
And our anxiety.
And that's why we're
magically unstable.
Alrighty, welcome back to Magically Unstable. I am Kurt.
Oh, do we Hey, I'm Nick.
Hey, I'm Nicole. Welcome back.
And we are super excited to bring you our 12th episode today.
No, it's our 13th.
Oh my God, you're right. It's our 13th.
It's lucky 13.
Oh no, let's just
Friday
skip
the
it.
13th.
Let's just skip it. This is the end of the podcast. Bye.
Yeah, April Fools.
No way, man. I'm here for it. I've shown up for this 13th.
This is going to be a good episode. But let's get started into our weekly touch base. Nicole, how was your week?
I'm pretty sure we start with me all the time, but it's fine. We'll just get I'm dog sitting right now, and I'm just so ready to be home. It's the same song and dance, except it's much farther from home. It's my first night home in a week, and I'm just ready to be back. I'm happy to be here and recording, though, so get my second shot of Pfizer in my arm next week. Yeet,
Great.
Yeet. Kurt,
Damn.
how's your week?
My week is pretty good. It was a very slow start and then just kind of flew by for the past 2 days, maybe? No, today. Today just went by really fast, and I feel like tomorrow's going to go by really fast because I fly out to Florida tomorrow night to go to Walt Disney World and get a whole bunch of footage. So we're going to be there, and that's been my week. It's just been a little bit insane. But it's good. It's a good insane. I get my second dose tomorrow.
Nice.
So fingers crossed that I don't have severe side effects like my first dose was. But yeah, my week is pretty great. Nick, how's your week?
Nice. Nice. I feel like, I swear, every week my week intro is the same, where I tell you guys I feel like I've been in a fever dream for a week, because once again I feel like this week has just been like a fever dream, man. I don't know, it's been crazy, just
Nick's
trying to
living
get
a fever dream.
I'm pretty sure I am.
The same dream, different context.
Exactly. But it's just been strange because I've been prepping my apartment for someone to be here.
Hey.
So yeah, it takes, you guys know that last minute frantic, scrubbing everything. Like Kurt said, it's just the today flew, and our business partner is down here. He flew here from New York, and he's been here. And it's it's real and it's weird. And I don't know, man. It's been a good week. I unfortunately do not get my second dose of Pfizer next week. Mine is in 2 weeks, so you guys will have it before me. But no, it's good. Not bad. Not bad.
All right. Well, let's head right into housekeeping.
Oh, it's housekeeping today. All right. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. It's housekeeping, where we talk about all things that are new with Disney. So let's go ahead and find out what's happening over at Disneyland. And Kurt, let us know what's happening on the West Coast.
So not too much. I feel like they're just really prepping for opening day, which is next Friday, which is super
Holy
exciting,
shit.
Right? It's crazy. It's I almost don't believe that it's going to happen. I feel like California is going to get hit with a fourth wave out of nowhere, and then they're going to be like, nope, just kidding. JK, not going to happen. Like every other thing that they've ever planned before, how it just gets taken away at the last minute.
Yoink.
So not too much. A little bit of information was released on how they're going to change the virtual queue for Rise of the Resistance here at Disneyland, which I really appreciate. I think it's really great. So instead of having to be at the park scanned in whatever it was last time, I didn't even attempt to get a virtual queue pass for Rise of the Resistance when it opened or any time before Disneyland closed. But you only have to now go through the app, through the My Disney Experience app, and you can be at your hotel, you can be at home. It doesn't matter where you are. You can, as long as you have a park ticket and reservation for that day, you can go into the boarding group on your phone through the My Disney Experience app at 7 a.m. is when they do their first release of tickets, boarding groups. The second time that they'll do that is at noon, and you do have to be in the park to go onto the app and get the reservation for that. If you have a park hopper, you can be scanned into California Adventure. And then that will be, like I said, released at noon, and then you can hop over to Disneyland at 1 o'clock once Park Hopper starts. So it's pretty cool. You don't have to be in the park anymore.
I have a question. Is it going to work the same way as Disney World, where you only get, like, if you get the morning queue, you don't get the noon queue kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. Yep. But
I don't know for sure. I would assume that is what's happening.
word for the wise. Do not count on getting that second queue time. I can tell you right now, with being in the parks as much as I have been, every single time I go to Hollywood Studios, I'm like, I'm not fucking getting up at 7 a.m. to get a boarding group, so I'll attempt the afternoon one, and I've literally never gotten it once, and that's with one person. And I will sit there and watch the second hand go around the clock, and literally like 2 seconds before it hits, like I'll try and it'll be like, nope, it's full. So if you really, 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 really want to get on Rise of the Resistance, I would not count on that second boarding group availability to be reliable. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. It's nice that you can get on there and get that pass at home now rather than being in the park. Because once I read 7 a.m., I was like, the park isn't opening until 9.
Yeah, it's so nice. It was so nice to be able to do that. The one time I've ridden it, was that with you guys? No, I think it was maybe by myself. I really wanted to go on it, and I was just laying in bed, and it was super easy, and it's so much nicer than having to fucking, like Nicole had to stand at Hollywood Studios at 4 a.m. or whatever to try and scan into the park to get a boarding group.
I don't even want to talk about that.
When we went this past September, I remember we flew into the Hollywood Studios parking lot at like 7:58 or 7:59 or whatever it was, and like sprinted through and got in and got a pass right away.
Yes. Yeah.
That was pretty epic.
Nice. That's good. I'm glad they're doing that. I love that, like, Disney is doing that now, and like Universal doesn't do it from your home yet, but that you don't actually have to be in Universal to scan. So you can just be in City Walk or whatever. And I really like that because I'm telling you, like, I don't know when Nicole is ever going to tell this story, if she's going to, but like legit, you used to have to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and camp outside of the gates and then try and scan in. And you might not even be guaranteed a park. You might not even be guaranteed it. So
that 4 a.m. day, it was like we got up and drove there. We were like one of the first people in the parking lot. And we stood in line, and the park literally did not open. They did not let people in until about 6:58. And I was camped out, sitting on the ground. Cast member kept telling me to fucking get up. And I'm like, why? Why? Who's gonna try to walk past me right now? Oh, I was so irritated. We got in, we got it, but I was a crab ass the whole day. Yeah. So thank you for revising that, Disney.
Not worth it for me.
No, it's just so much more added stress to your trip as well. So nice.
Yeah.
That's great. So glad Disneyland just really catching on those trends. Nicole, what do we got? What do we got?
Let me fucking tell you what we got. So a little background about me. Festival of the Lion King is a must do at Disney World. Oh my God, I keep trying to say Disneyland. I've never fucking been to
fucking
Disneyland.
suck.
My God. No, at Disney World in Animal Kingdom, it is my favorite thing to do. I could sit and watch the show all day, 12 hours. I could just sit. And it is coming back in May. In mid-May, it's coming back. And I am so excited because I'll be there in June. And my fat ass is going to sit and watch this modified version of the show.
I was gonna say I'm interested to see what modified means.
Yeah, me too. But you know what? I'm here for the music. I'm here for the celebration. I don't care what needs to be modified.
That's when modified means they completely changed it and just made a short version of it, and it's just
They
all
just
different.
show you
Everything
the
is
trailer of
different.
the Lion King, and they're like, okay. They
Get
don't
out.
even roll Simba
Or it's just
out
like
anymore.
a medley of the show.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
you just sit there. Imagine it. Just imagine the show.
I guess we'll find out.
No, that's my news. Nick, what you got? What you got?
There has been a lot of reopenings that are happening in Disney World. So I think the most exciting and what everybody has been waiting for is that the PeopleMover is finally reopening this weekend. So
Yay!
that's yay. That was, so if you're listening to this, it would have been April 24th that weekend. This shit has been closed for over a year. I mean, obviously including the pandemic time, so I don't even know if that's a fair. Wait, did it close before the pandemic? It did. It did close before the pandemic started. And Disney has been kind of like being like, oh, it'll open this date. And then they'll come back a week later and be like, nah, it ain't opening. And then they'll do it again. And then yeah. So they did that twice. And now finally, like, they didn't announce a date. They were not like, oh, it's going to reopen this date. They literally just came on today and were like, yeah, it's reopening this weekend. Literally, it's like Friday. And they're like, yeah, it'll be
Nice.
open tomorrow. So in true Disney fashion, they are reopening that with almost no notice, but still great. A whole bunch of resorts are reopening back up to like the general public. So if you didn't know, a whole bunch of Disney resorts were only available to DVC members throughout the pandemic. But now Beach Club, the Boardwalk, the Wilderness, and the Polynesian will all be open for regular guests by late July. So the Beach Club's coming up May 30th, Boardwalk will be July 2nd, Wilderness Lodge will be June 6th, and Disney's Polynesian Resort they're not giving an exact date because we all know their construction can be delayed, but they're saying late July for that one. So yeah, you can now book your stay if you're not DVC at those following resorts.
Nice.
Great.
Alrighty, well, good housekeeping. Let's take a little break, and then we will head into this week's video.
Hell yeah.
All right, everyone, now that we're stopped, let's take a minute to shout out to our socials.
Since you've made it this far, maybe subscribe to our podcast. You can subscribe wherever you're listening, like Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or whatever you're listening on right now.
You can also follow us over on Instagram and TikTok at Foreverland Fairy Tales.
And most importantly, if you want more Disney content or if you want to listen to our podcast on YouTube, make sure you find us there. We're at Foreverland Fairy Tales, and just remember to subscribe.
All right, let's get back to the episode. All right, guys, welcome back. This week's video was a super special video celebrating Earth Day, and a lot of it had to revolve around Animal Kingdom, but it was all about conservation efforts through Walt Disney World and things that Walt Disney World is doing. So, Nick, how about you go ahead and explain what the video talked about, and then I think we both have some questions for you about this.
Yay! So this just tickles me fucking pink because this is my jam, and I was so excited to do the research for this video. And I was super surprised. So interestingly enough, when I worked at a zoo for a summer, I was so surprised that on our very first day on orientation, my boss asked us all who we thought was the #1 monetary contributor to conservation to date. And if I asked you two, like, what do you immediately think of? Like, I thought of like the Nature Conservancy or
Jane
like very,
Goodall.
yeah, Jane Goodall, you know, like you think of like very green companies, but we were super shocked to hear that Disney World is actually, or Disney is the number one contributor to concentration. What?
Oh my God.
Yikes. No. Conservation to date. So I was really excited when we were like, hey, let's make a video on all the types of things that they do. This video wasn't so much on just conservation. It was just environmental sustainability. And Disney does a lot. Like, I was so shocked to read about this stuff. So I think a lot of you guys will be shocked as well. Disney, I feel like after doing this research, has really taken the forefront for large corporations to kind of take a stance to be changing with the time towards environmental sustainability. So, I know we've had conversations before too that like we all like are kind of unsure how we feel about Walt Disney, like the man himself. But a big thing that Walt's kind of instilled was the idea of conservation. It's always been a top concern for him, and it actually has just followed him into the parks 90 years later, where no matter what your opinion on him is, the guy really did care about the living natural world. So now, the different areas that Disney really focuses on are renewable energy, conserving their fuel, sustainable design, reducing waste, using water responsibly, greening production, and protecting nature. So I don't want to go into a lot of it on the podcast because I feel like the video on YouTube, it's only like 5 minutes long, super concise, and I'm able to explain everything really well. So yeah, just a couple interesting things. Like I said, I don't want to talk about too much, but a big one that Disney is really pushing for is renewable energy and electricity. And I just saw an article posted, I think on Earth Day, that Disney just signed an even bigger deal, I think, than what I'm about to tell you right now. So take what I'm telling you right now and add a little bit, because they're making an even bigger deal about renewable energy. And if you guys have ever been to Disney World, you may have seen the Mickey-shaped solar fields. There's a couple of those around the park, and then there's a giant solar field on the edge of Walt Disney World, and it's actually altogether 270 acres of solar panels that Disney has installed, which powers 2 out of the 4 theme parks annually. And that's so much energy. If you think about how much energy is happening at just one park, it is so much. And to think that they're able to get that much power out of their solar fields is incredible, to power those annually. So that's a really cool thing that they're doing. What I really liked was they had their targets. So like my brain immediately like went to when I was in my teaching days, and Nicole, you're going to think of it too, like learning targets. It's the same concept. It's someone putting out these plans or goals that they want to work toward in the future. And Disney just had really great goals that they want to look for going forward. And there's a lot of different ones, like zero net emissions. A big one for them is trying to be more involved in the water in the community. So kind of taking more of like a water stewardship role, where they're going to be trying to make more innovative designs to help protect the local watershed. Because if you guys didn't know, Florida itself is just so water rich that a huge company like that could really make an impact on depleting that source. So they're super committed to keeping that watershed fresh and available to the community. They've talked a bunch about sustainably sourcing all of their seafood and other foods in the park. I already kind of talked about like the nature side, the conservation side, but they're already partnered with 25 different sustainability projects throughout the world to help restore habitat for wildlife, create jobs, these green jobs. Like I said earlier, protecting water resources. And they also are a part of one that reduces impacts of flooding and soil erosion. So they're just all over the world joining these projects. They're doing a bunch of stuff in the parks. And I just think it's really cool that they have this focus. And it's a huge part of what they do kind of off the scene. When you're not at the park, like this is what a huge team is doing. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
smart
really
that they're
neat.
focusing on flooding and water erosion because that's like going to be the downfall of Florida as a state.
Yeah, it's in Florida, and they're also doing a project in I think South America as well. So they're like globally involved with these habitats and these ecosystems, which is also really cool.
Nice, very cool.
Yeah. So that's just kind of like an umbrella overview. There's so many different things, so many cool things, especially things like happening inside the park that you're going to see changes possibly at your next vacation of what you're not used to. So I would always expect Disney to continue to change. Never expect one trip is going to be the same to the next because you never know what's going to happen with how much they're wanting to push for this. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have any questions about anything. I kind of went off there for quite a while. So
No, you're good. I do have two questions regarding the video. I guess I'll just tell you both of them and then you can just answer both of them right away.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that Disney has set a goal to reach a zero net emission by 2030. So can you just, I guess, explain what that means exactly? Like, what is zero net emission?
Yeah. So zero net emissions means that what you're outputting is equal to what you're inputting. So to kind of explain that, let's say Disney has a resort that has really old technology, doesn't have their lighting updated, so it's sucking a ton of energy, doesn't have their maybe heating and cooling systems updated, so it's just really pushing out greenhouse gas emissions in the environment. Let's say Disney builds a complete brand new resort that's powered 100% off of solar energy, has complete reusable water system that replenishes within itself. You see how before the scale was tipped super high to them outputting a ton of emissions, where now they've built this super sustainable building and that scale evens out. So that means across the theme park, all of the green gas that they put out, they need to come up with new, more efficient technology or processes or just new buildings to just really either make the balance equal, or they need to create technology that takes greenhouse gas out of the air. So there's two ways. They could either start maybe taking out old resorts or renovating old resorts to newer technology and kind of replacing that, or building better, or they're going to have to create designs like, the only thing I can think of, and it's super primitive, is like smokestack scrubbers. Like, okay, yes, we're putting out all of this emissions, but hey, in our Tomorrowland Speedway, we put a tent over the top that has this super crazy filter that filters out the emissions that we're putting out. So there are different paths to reach it, but Disney's going to have to come up with something. So that's zero emissions.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. My second question is, you also mentioned that, they're trying to reduce their high carbon energy resources and lower carbon energy resources. Can you just explain, I guess, for everybody, what carbon energy is and what an example of a higher carbon resource versus a lower carbon resource would be, I guess, in the sense of Walt Disney World?
Yes. So a big thing is carbon output has to do with a lot it's a bigger scale. So everything we do, turning a light on, turning on our car, it requires some sort of combustion or electricity to come from some sort of fuel source. At least if it's not renewable. So every time you turn your light on, that power comes from a power company, and that power company burns fossil fuel like coal or natural gas to create that electricity that comes to your house. So that's carbon energy, so to say. And how that contributes to greenhouse gases is the more carbon we put into the atmosphere, it creates it's creating this heating effect because it's reacting with ozone. It's turning into ozone because it's a super complicated process, and I don't want to get too far into it, but that's carbon energy. Anything that requires combustion of a fossil fuel is pretty much us putting carbon out into the atmosphere. And that's not including just like when we're talking right now, we're putting CO2 out into the atmosphere. Technically, us talking is a carbon output. Granted, plants counteract that, but pretty much anything that requires energy like this creates this carbon energy. So I'm going to use that example that I used earlier of high versus low carbon energy is those two hotels I was talking about. The one, let's use a not renovated, maybe one of the All-Stars that haven't been renovated. Let's say they're still using these super outdated light sources. It's still running off of maybe natural gas or fossil fuel to heat or cool your room. So we've got this hotel that's putting out a lot of carbon energy because it's combusting a lot of fuel. And then let's say Disney builds the second hotel, which is low carbon output, which means they're using renewable resources. Maybe on the roof of the building, there are solar panels. Maybe out in front of, or maybe out in a field near this hotel, there are wind turbines that are creating the power. Renewable resources use zero carbon output. Other than maybe building the resource itself, it's using the sun, solar energy, wind energy to create the energy. So there should actually be no carbon output at all. So that's the difference between high and low. Yeah, that's
nice.
The best way I can explain it for Disney.
That was very helpful.
Yeah.
Those were my questions. Those were like the two questions that I had when watching this video.
Great. I'm glad I could help.
You know, I don't have any questions, but I have a fucking what to pick, a bone to pick. I have a bone to pick. Do you remember when, because paper straws aren't a new thing to Disney. They're used in Animal Kingdom, like before all the parks were paper straws. It was used solely in Animal Kingdom because they were safe. Well, air quotes safe, if they like blew into an animal pen or, you know, because it's the conservation park, basically. Do you remember the fucking uproar about the paper straws? We were part of an annual pass group. Oh my God. People were fucking pissed about these paper straws. They were like, but it's gonna sog in my drink. That's just literally...
Like, are you talking about when they made the announcement that they were going to, like, do, like, a park-wide thing?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, because they've always been at Animal Kingdom, but not at the other parks. And now they're at the other parks, and people are still bitching about it. And I'm like, if you went to Disney, go buy a fucking $2 reusable straw and bring it with you. A big one was, because I don't want to get super into this, but a big one was, like, what are people with disabilities? It was people who were being ableists, trying to use people with disabilities to heighten their argument for why they shouldn't have paper straws, because they were like,
yep,
how are people who need a straw to drink gonna drink if their straw is just sogging?
Yep. I
It
remember
made me
that.
so
and
mad.
I remember so many people were like, A, you're assuming that disabled people like can't handle drinking out of a straw. B, you're acting like Disney has told you you're not allowed to bring your own straw into the park. Like, cry about it. Like,
not even that. They're acting as if Disney told them that, like, you can come in the park, but you can't breathe. Like you cannot intake our air into your lungs. You can come here though. You just have to find another way to do it.
I know, it was so fucking ridiculous. They were
that part,
man,
because
though.
when I watched that video, it made my skin crawl. I was like,
That's how they're going to reduce their carbon output.
Yeah, there you
Telling
go.
people not to breathe.
You can't breathe.
yeah.
Oh my God. People are just like,
carbon output.
what did I see today? People, I swear to God, in Disney Facebook groups, like literally need to get a fucking life. This one woman, which, Jesus, I hate myself. I finally rejoined Facebook after not having it for like the entire pandemic. But I sometimes like it for the tea. But specifically this one group, it's so fucking annoying. This woman posted today, she was like, I just need to rant that I think people who decide to be on their cell phones and do lives and be vloggers right down Main Street when you're trying to walk past them shouldn't be allowed in the parks. And like so many people were agreeing with her that like vloggers shouldn't be allowed, which is so funny because in a different group with a slightly different climate in it, it's another Disney World adults group, a similar post was like this, and that person got like their ass ripped apart. And they were like, those
Good.
people pay tickets just as much as you do. So it's like the same thing. It's the same people where it's like everything bothers them. They just have to complain about something.
It's the
your
peop-
5 minutes out of your life
Literally.
aren't gone. Like,
It's the people
shut the
who,
fuck up.
It's the people who just want to complain about something. They just need something to ruin their day.
Right. Like, how did you survive before straws? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Do you think people just couldn't figure out how to drink their drinks?
I'll fucking waterboard
Ugh.
you. Like,
Or how people would complain about like a sipper lid. And they were like, oh,
Exactly.
well, you're going to make me drink out of a sippy cup? I'm an adult. It's like, what, do you drink your hot coffee out of a straw?
Right. You fucking
No, because the
stupid fuck.
straw's gonna melt.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
fucking
dumb.
hate people.
So that
it's
just
so
made me
sad.
mad.
That's fair. And like I was like, it's just really sad. Like looking at the number, 175 million straws annually have been eliminated because that is how many straws Disney would go through. So you think about that. Any large corporation like Disney that is serving food puts out just as many straws, and one company eliminated that. And they also said 13 million stirrers, so those little plastic stirrers, are gone. That's so much plastic. Like, what? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's great.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a great video. I highly recommend everybody head over to our YouTube channel, Foreverland Fairy Tales, and watch our latest YouTube video on conservation if you enjoyed that conversation.
It's pretty good. I'm not even going to lie. So
Yeah.
go check it out.
Alrighty, let's take a break and we will get back with our therapy session. Alrighty, welcome back. Let's head right
We're back.
into our therapy session with
We're back.
Nicole.
Hey y'all. So I'm a little
It's your boy.
hey.
Shut up.
Let's dive into this. I don't know if you guys saw it in my note, but we're gonna talk about people who bring their little fucking spawns of Satan to Disney World, the happiest,
we're gonna
most magical place in the
we're-
world.
We're going to get flamed for this
know what?
one. We're going to get
Is
flamed.
it specifically BC's?
It's everyone. Set me on fire because
No.
more Fortnite.
No.
Which, Nicole, after you're done, I would like to go through the class of children, and I would like to explain them a little bit.
Why don't we do that first? So then we can people can
God.
no. I think that's
Wow.
important to have a little definition chart.
Yeah, well, I mean,
a
little
little reference
reference
key.
key.
yes,
Why don't
just
you?
a little bit. Just because there are two types of children in this world that we all know. There are so many more different types of children, but two of them specifically that I'm sure Nicole is going to be talking about. And those are BCs, aka bastard children, or B, Nerf kids. So we've come up with these classifications because we have been in so many public situations with fucking children, and they all fit this. So it's like it's a race almost.
All right, everybody,
Um,
everybody, close your eyes. Close your. I want
Yeah,
you. I want
close-
you to imagine. Not if you're driving. If you're driving, probably
I
don't.
was like, yeah, I was
Don't
like,
close your
unless
eyes
you're
when you're
driving, don't
driving.
close your eyes.
Wait, don't close your eyes just yet because I want to lead up to a BC. We're going to start with a Nerf kid. So, a Nerf kid is probably a kid that has ADHD that their parents have not addressed.
Or don't care
totally
to
okay.
address.
Or care. And like, I'm not talking about antsy kids in line. I mean, like the kids that snort two pixie sticks and are like pinging off the walls and like, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, they're usually very thin and spindly and gangly and
little kids with blonde, shaggy hair.
yes.
just-
Or it's like blonde and like super gelled and spiked.
Oh
Which,
my
that
god!
reminds me, the ultimate representative of a Nerf kid is that kid in the Vine where they are hitting him in the
Yes.
head with the ball, and he's like,
Yes.
yeah! And they're like, this kid's on crack. So
the crack
that's a Nerf kid. That's a Nerf kid. Class 2 is a bastard child, and now I would like you to. This is so mean because my coping session has to do with something like this.
Oh my god. Is it how to cope with VCs in the park?
No, it's not. But okay. So first of all, no hate at all
A little.
to chubby kids because I'm chubby and
Same.
like I can make comments about chubby people, not making fun of them at all. That's not what this is. It's just a class of the kid. So close your eyes, right? So you hear a kid like being really loud, maybe tapping a pencil on a metal pole, just kind of being outwardly
fucking with
in your
the
face.
railings.
Fucking with railings, asking like 13 million questions. But anyway, it's the kid.
I'm just imagining the kid like, you know, like the chain railings, and they just like yank it back and forth.
Yes, picture that. This kid is probably owl screeching, probably playing with the railing chain. Now,
Invading your personal space.
and invading your personal space is a must. So, white Nike shoes. Okay, picture that. They're probably a little
Like the
big, probably a
tall
little worn
ones.
out.
Like the
Yep.
tall white Nike shoes.
Yep. He probably, and I'm going to say I don't want to classify, but I haven't really met a female presenting bastard child yet. But the shoe is probably not fitting very well.
No, they're gigantic.
They are gigantic.
It's like they bought the parents bought them so that he could grow into them.
For like
Yes.
high school though, and they're in like 5th
Yeah.
grade.
Yes. The other important part is neon shorts. So neon basketball shorts.
But basketball
must.
shorts that go over their knees. Not even like the ones
yes.
that like the ones
No,
that like
it's got to be too long.
do your
gotta
pants
It's
be
the
too
fucking
long.
over the knee shorts for me, man.
And if they're not neon, you don't have the right kid. You don't. The next thing is an extremely oversized t-shirt. Extremely oversized.
that goes to about
almost-
mid-thigh.
Almost mid-thigh, where the shorts are longer. You can still see the neon shorts. And the other qualification, and this is nothing wrong, but the kids are usually a little overweight. They're usually a little chubby. And
But you
Every
look at them
child-
and you're like, oh my god, that fucking little bastard.
it's like you want them to not be that way, and then they end up in line behind you, and they're being exactly what you thought they would be.
They're all the same. They're all the same.
It's the same kid.
Why are you the way that you are?
Right. It's the
Literally.
same kid. And it has nothing, the reason we call them bastard child has nothing to do with their parental situation. It's literally that they're just little bastards almost always. So anyway, Nicole, there you go. Those are our classifications.
Your key
Yeah.
map. Now we can head into the therapy session.
You know, I went to Disney one time with Nick's niece, right? And she was only not even 2 at the time. It was right before she turned 2. So like she wasn't old enough to be annoying, like outwardly annoying to other people yet. So I'm not getting on you about your toddlers that you take and you fucking dress them up all cute. Whatever. Bring your toddlers, bring your newborns, bring and no, not even preteens. But like that, like that age range of like 3rd grade to about 13 years old can kiss my ass. I hate going to the parks for the sole reason that I know that I'm going to encounter children who are running fucking rampant. If you cannot control your kids in the parks, holy shit, why are you there with them? Are you hoping they fucking get kidnapped? Because this is unbelievable. But nobody's going to want to fucking take your little BC.
No, BCs are very kidnappable. They're very kidnappable.
Okay, they're
like
kidnappable,
the
but they're...
kidnap.
What? Sorry.
You're... Just keep talking.
Okay, yes. Kidnappable, yes. Every kid is kidnappable. But, like, I would, if I was... No, I shouldn't even say that. But if I was gonna go kidnap a kid and I saw a fucking BC or a Nerf kid, no, I'd leave them alone. Because they are already up in your fucking business being nosy.
You're not a child kidnapper.
I'm not.
So
I'm not.
You don't know what they're looking for. And a BC is like perfect
I've never
for a child kidnapper.
I guess I've never really thought like, hey, I'm gonna go take that kid. So yes, I cannot classify myself as a child kidnapper. But like, I don't know. It's just literally like specifically standing in lines. Like, like your standby, fine, I'll stand by. It's great. But you get the little kids who are like up in your asshole when you, like, especially pandemic timing.
It's even worse in the pandemic. It's worse in the pandemic.
Timing. Oh my God, because you've got the 6 feet markers. And then you've got little fucking Betsy Rose like sniffing your ass crack. And you're like, I'm going to sit right on your head. I fucking hate going to Disney with kids.
It's awful.
That's kind of my therapy session. I really just wanted to like... I know, Nick, you're in the park more with kids, and I've just heard about it a lot this week, and it really just...
do not. Oh, yeah. Michael and I almost fought 10-year-olds, like, yesterday because of that exact reason.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was the text this week that made me really think about the kids that go to Disney. But it's also, like, fuck you to the parents that can't, like, control your own kids. Jesus.
We all know kids are perfectly capable of being in the age range from 3rd grade to whatever other grade you said, and like being respectful. And that includes like letting your kids like have fun and be crazy in a theme park. Like if you want to let your kid run laps in Magic Kingdom, that's fine. But like the second you're in a line, like, and you're around other people in a close vicinity, like, your kids should either be with you, because that's a big problem, is people do just, like, release their children into the theme park, and they're like, have fun, kids, see you at 5 p.m.
Right, because it's Disney. Nothing bad's gonna happen at Disney.
Right. Or it's the parents where, like, I just talked about this on one of our therapy sessions where, like, some white lady saw me with, like, her kid, and the kid like waddled up to me and was like hee, and I was like, no, get your kid away from me, we're in a fucking pandemic. And she literally looked at me like I just stabbed the kid.
It's right, like it's supposed to be super cute that her kid fucking toddled up to you.
I don't give a shit about your kid, get it away from me. Yeah, at Universal, this, like, she probably looked like 11. She literally leaned on my back, and I turned around and I was like, get the fuck off of me. And her other 2 friends, like, looked at me like I was the devil. And I'm like, y'all are old enough to not be doing that shit. Like, and the one kid, he was a fucking Nerf kid, would not keep his mask on because he had a goddamn like Mountain Dew Icy that he was slurping on, and he was like,
Jesus.
Yeah, and he wouldn't keep his fucking mask on. So I'm like, stay 6 feet fucking back and stop giving me dirty looks, because I'm turning around and giving you dirty looks.
But it's also like, teach your kids to like respect other people's space, like pandemic or not.
Oh my God. My dad would have literally beat the ever living shit out of me if he knew that I was behaving the way that some of these kids behave in these theme parks.
Yeah.
My parents would drop me off and be like, if we hear anything, like if we get a call, if any cops show up, anything, they're like, we will literally put you into a coma. And I was like, heard.
I don't even think I would allow, if I ever had kids, I would not allow them to go to a theme park by themselves.
That's fair.
No.
Like, I don't think that's safe in general. Like, just like, it doesn't matter how old you are. Maybe if you're like 16, you can handle it by yourself. But like before then, like, I don't know if that's really the safest idea.
But also, it's the parents who are like, it's the kids who are with parents, or like, or here's a good one. When the parents don't want to ride the ride, so they wait at the exit and they just send the kids in line, so the kids are just fucking free reign. Oh my God.
Yep.
I don't know what's worse, the parents being with them or the parents being not with them, because the parents clearly just don't fucking do anything about it anyway.
A lot of times I also notice that it's the parents who aren't, or it's the parents who are used to having other people really raise their children for them. And it's a lot of the time just very telling of their parental ways.
Yeah.
And I feel, you know what, if you are like, yeah, you know what, I agree with you guys, then you're probably a really good parent. And if you're a little offended by this, you should probably check yourself.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Okay.
This is a nice PSA. Like, we're being very nice about this. This is a nice PSA for you to be like, maybe just like check yourself a little bit when you're in the theme park with your BC or your Nerf kid.
So many people are like, well, Disney should be all about kids. And you know what? If you want it to be all about your kid, go ahead. If we want it to be all about us, that's fine as adults. But the thing is we're not saying that don't bring your kid to Disney World. We're saying teach your kids some decent fucking manners, and like,
teach
you
your
won't
kid how to interact in public.
Yeah.
Just because you pay $15,000, it doesn't mean you can't get arrested for trespassing.
Right.
So...
And just because it's little Johnny's 6th birthday doesn't mean little Johnny gets to fucking put his nose up my butt and like touch me, because I literally have had kids literally grab the back of my leg or like my hand or poke me or fucking like be right next to me.
I would immediately roundhouse them.
See, I death glared. Like, when that happened to me when we were there in September, I think we were in line for Dinosaur, and I had a kid keep fucking bumping me. I whipped around and glared at the parents, because my non-confrontational ass will not say a single thing, but I will stare. And they, like, kept ushering their kids back over by them, but they fucking wouldn't say a goddamn word to their kids. And I'm like, are you, like, afraid of what your children are going to say?
I remember that now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
They were like two younger girls.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is an accident, and we're not talking about accidents. We're not being snowflakes. Oh my God. Someone called me a Karen once because of this exact thing. And they were like, you gotta just have kids have fun. Kids just can't have fun. And it's like, no. Disrespect and fun are two different things.
Right.
I don't fucking care.
Let your kid run around the line. Like, I don't care. I do not care what your kid does in line. I care the moment they enter my personal space, or the moment that they touch me or get close to touching me.
Pandemic or not,
that's when
like,
I care.
I don't like my personal space invaded at all.
I don't go up to people and start touching them. I'd get fucking arrested.
Exactly.
And like, I get it. Like, again, going back to like, if it's an accident and like your kid grabs my leg, like thinking it's their other parent, right, and like you usher them away, you like, I don't know, you just explain, like, you have to chill out over here. That's a totally different ball. It's the parents who don't give a shit or the kids who don't give a shit. That, like, frosts my fucking buns. But yeah, that's my...
It's even worse for us, though, like, being in... Kurt and I in our late 20s, and Nicole, you're in your mid 20s. Like, people expect you, if you're in the parenting age, to be warm towards children in general. And I'm not kidding. Where
children, not
right,
yours.
But like, parents will literally be like, if you give their like 5-year-old kind of like a stern look, like, don't come by me, and they expect us just to be like, oh my gosh, you're so cute. Like, I'm gonna entertain your kid because
literally,
you're
like,
not.
I don't give a shit about your kid.
No,
I literally
I'll fight
could
your
not
kid for a
give
Mickey bar.
anything more than I already am about your kid.
Yep. So yeah, it is. It can be tough. I mean, even going to the theme park with some adults can be tough, but I was seeing this group was savage, man. They were like, yeah, there should be kids hours. There was an argument about this where someone was like, Disney's for kids, blah. And someone was like, yeah, Disney should be for kids between the hours of 8 a.m. and 2 p.m.
Fucking
And I was
honestly.
like, damn, we're not even saying that. So like,
No, just literally
I'm not
control your
opposed
kid.
to it.
Right. Same. But yeah, that was my.
Nice.
I needed to get that.
Great therapy session. That was
Thanks.
good. Yeah. All right,
so
let's head into our coping session this week. Nick, what do you got for us?
Now we take it all back.
this actually is really funny that I'm doing this one. And I want you all to know, like, we are not making fun of fat children in the slightest.
No.
Like, always have struggled with weight, always have been either the fat kid or the really skinny kid or the in-between kind of chubby kid. So, like, it's just a class of kid and we're not being disrespectful. And my coping
being
session...
a terrible child has nothing to do with what they weigh.
Correct. But why is it always the slightly chubby one? Just kidding. So,
But statistically,
every single time. But it's got to be the chubby kid with the knee. You got to have three.
It's got to
like,
be
all
the
three
BC or the Nerf
accessories.
kid.
Yeah,
That's why they fall
gotta
into
have
the
the
two-
accessories.
Yeah.
Anyway, my coping session is being a fat person in Disney and how to cope with that. Okay, so being a fat person in Disney. That can mean like fat, that can mean chubby, that can mean thick with 2 C's. Doesn't matter how you identify in your fatness. It's all beautiful, it's all wonderful, and our body should be celebrated even in a theme park. So, in the fat community, I tend to fall more towards the thick side of fat. So I've got my issues in other places where some people have their other issues in other places. So I'm apologize if maybe my tips aren't for you. Everyone's body is different. But I tried to cover a nice spectrum of tips for people with certain body shapes. So I'm going to try and help as much as I can. Yes. So first off, the heat. In Florida, it's hot as shit down here. And as a thick person, some people may feel like they're not allowed to dress the way that they want. And I say that's bullshit. I say you wear whatever the fuck you want to be comfortable. If that means
amen.
short, right? If that means short ass spandex shorts, then you fucking wear those shorts. If that means a maxi dress, wear that. Put your health and your comfort above anything else. Nothing else matters. Nothing. So you wear what makes you comfortable and confident inside the theme parks. Nicole, yes.
I was going to say, because I fall in the line of thick. I completely agree. Kurt, I can't. Not right now.
I fall in the line of thick.
No. So yes, absolutely wear whatever makes you the most comfortable, literally comfortable. Like, yes. But I only wear leggings to the parks because my thighs
I'm getting
chafe.
there.
Oh, okay,
I'm
okay,
getting
okay,
there.
okay.
No, you're good. It's a good lead in. It's the next point, so go on.
Yes. No, go ahead. If you're going to talk about chafing, go for it.
Yes,
I just didn't want that to be left out.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. These thighs chafe. So as Nicole pointed out, and it's so funny that she gave you that tip of wearing leggings because that's also like partially my tip. But chafing, yes, there are a lot of things that can rub in the park. Thighs, arms, bellies, the whole 9 yards. So Nicole and I personally, we both kind of dress the same in the parks. I wear leggings. I also wear these like longer, they're like athletic shorts almost, but they're just long enough, like maybe like 3 inches over the knee to where it really protects the chafe. But the other thing that I learned about is this stuff called Chub Rub.
I'm too scared to try it.
Love the name. I know. Me too. But don't use deodorant. I mean, a lot of people do use deodorant, but with how many fragrances are in deodorants, and just deodorant is not meant for that, you can actually cause more irritation. So I would personally recommend like actually getting a product that's specifically for chafing, and this stuff is called Chub Rub, and you can find it on Amazon. It looks like a deodorant stick. You rub it on your thighs, and it's supposed to severely reduce friction and help with rashes or irritations.
I know somebody who's used it, and they say that they swear by it. They say that it works. But I've also used the deodorant, and it does not work.
Yeah, mine ends up like getting swampy, and then it'll just burn the fuck out of my thighs. So
it's the fragrance, even like the natural deodorants, like the fragrance in it, the second that like a chafe breaks out, you're done for.
It's
because
so
the
bad.
fragrance irritates it.
It's so bad. So yeah, chafing is a big one. Another one is for anyone who has titties. You're gonna have boob sweat. That's a thing. It's gonna happen. So just like prepare yourself for that. You can put deodorant underneath and in between your titties. That does help with sweat and discomfort. The other thing is just like if you are able, I know some of y'all's titties, you cannot wear bralettes, and I get that completely. Maybe sports bra it, but bralettes are a great thing. But it's inevitably going to happen. You're probably going to get it. This is what happens to me. I get a line right underneath my titties that when I stand up, I just got a fucking wet line of sweat just underneath my boobs. And it's just, it happens.
I'm going to be real gay for a second. What is a bralette?
So it's kind of
Just
like,
lift my shirt up.
it almost looks like a lingerie type of bra. It's usually made out of like a lighter like silk or lace, and it can be halter or it can be strapped.
So like this is mine. It's literally like tank top, pretty much.
Yeah, or tank top. But it's not going to have those cups. Well, some of the bralettes do have cups. There's no
wire.
Yeah, there's no wire in any of the bralettes. It's usually just meant to like pretty much cover your titties. It doesn't have any support. And that's why someone like a friend of ours, Alex, she could never wear a bralette ever. Like her boobs would just fall straight out the bottom because there's zero support. So that's kind of what a bralette is. It's just a really kind of not flimsy, just lighter bra wear with no support.
Just like fabric.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, but it just adds that like extra level of like, I don't want to wear a bra, so
just
I'm going to wear
something.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your
just
nippies
like fabric
don't show.
in between the skin.
Exactly.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Another one is wearing comfortable shoes. That can be for anyone. This doesn't just have to be for fat people. But for me, like I literally am a huge, like I'm almost 6 feet tall and like a kind of thicker person. So for me, like carrying my weight around all day is really, really hard. So like flimsy ass flip-flops, like ain't gonna fly in this house. So make sure you just plan to have like a shoe with good support. Otherwise, like if I don't, my hips, my feet, my knees, it'll all hurt for days and days and days.
Just a general tip, like avoid new shoes when you go to a Disney park or a theme park in general. Like, even if they're comfortable, even if they're sneakers, tennis shoes, whatever the fuck you want to call them, like they're not going to be good for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember the
do
very first time we went to Disney, back in April 2018, I wore those stupid ass off-brand Birkenstocks the first day.
I remember.
And my feet were fucking screaming by the end of it. And I had blisters like all over the bottom of my feet, which I drained the night before and wore socks and tennis shoes the next day because I was like, I'm going to kill myself, but didn't. So now I just wear Crocs to the park.
Same.
Shocker.
I can sometimes wear Toms. Yeah. Sometimes Toms work, but honestly, like some days I haven't even been able to get them off of my feet because my feet are so swollen. Okay. And lastly, and I think this one is like kind of the most important in my opinion is I get this is really, really, really hard. I know how uncomfortable I can get in the parks when it comes to like fitting into seats or feeling like I take up too much space. But you know what? It's your magical life. And it is not your fault that an attraction doesn't work for your body. That is Disney's problem for not accommodating all body types and shapes. And if that just happens to you, just know your body is still valid. Your body is still beautiful. That shouldn't deter you from your day at all. It's a design flaw in the ride and not yourself. So try your best to live your magical life no matter what it may throw at you and when you're trying to enjoy your favorite things in the park. I just know that can be a rough one. So,
and I think something that I would like to add to that is, I feel like we should put it on all of our branding for Magically Unstable. It's just like plan ahead. Like,
Yep.
I think that if you're concerned about that, I would research what rides would be good for you so that you don't have to have that interaction, or you don't have to set yourself up to feel less than. And just I would, if that's even a thought for you, I would just research it so that you can just completely avoid it and it doesn't ruin your time.
Completely agreed. Yep. So, drink water, stay cool, have fun, and that's all. And I just hope everyone can just try and live their most magical life, no matter what a theme park or what restrictions happen to you or what people say to you or who gives a fuck. Just be you and don't be fucking apologetic about it. And yeah, that's my coping.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that. I also want to add in, like, it's not, I also feel like it's really like a sensitive topic for me, because growing up, like, I have never been on the thick side, but a lot of my family has. Specifically, like, my mom was very heavy set my entire life, and like, we never went to Disney World, but we would go to Six Flags, and like, she couldn't ride the rides with me, and like, she wasn't able to like be at the park with me a lot of the time. Like, we could only do like half days because she couldn't walk around, or she would be sore, or she would have chafing. So I feel like a lot of it is just like, for me, in my eyes, like, a lot of the experience is more about, like, I feel like if you can avoid situations, I feel like the embarrassment of some of that, like the embarrassment of some of the situations, is more harmful to you than the actual situation itself. Like like I said about like the rides, or like not being able to walk around because your legs are chafing so bad and you have to like not do things with your friends. Like, I feel like those experiences, like the embarrassment of that happening, could be more mentally damaging for you than your thighs chafing, than not being able to go on the ride. So I feel like, just to add that on, like I said, just make sure you try to like research those things and plan those things. And I think it's super, super helpful that you talked about this for people who are in that situation. And sometimes not even like for me, like, if you just have like thick thighs, like I've said before on this podcast, I was a dancer for 10 years. I got some pretty thick thighs, and like, my upper inner thighs absolutely chafe in a Disney park. Like, I feel like if that happens to you, try to wear like undergarments that help. Like, try to wear, I always make sure that I wear my longer boxer briefs that day so that my upper thighs don't touch. And, try to problem prevent instead of problem solve, to have a better, I guess, more mentally healthy, a mentally stable time in the park.
Yeah, no, I always dreaded, because I also grew up going to Six Flags. Because I wanted to wear shorts. I was friends with what? Six Flags?
I said fucking Six Flags.
Literally. No, and I grew up and I was always like the bigger kid of the group, and all my friends were wearing like their little shorts to the park, so I was like, hell yeah, I'll wear shorts to the park. Yeah, absolutely. So I am wearing jean shorts. Oh my god, awful, first of all, if you're sweating. But then we would go on the fucking roaring rapids. Yeah, but I also like,
oh god.
Yeah, I know.
No.
I
oh no.
I didn't know, like, this wasn't like something that was ever talked about, because there was nobody else that was experiencing the same shit as me in fucking 6th grade. So my thighs are fucking chafing as hell, and I'm like, I literally can't even walk, and I'm like constantly adjusting my shorts. So that's why I like jumped the gun with chafing in the beginning, because I was like, bitch, just wear leggings.
No, I totally get that. And I think it's super important because, like, we've all kind of talked, like, Kurt, you grew up with, a mom who was overweight, and I grew up with a mom who was underweight and a sister who was underweight. So I never learned about this shit. And I was I've been average sized my whole life. And then as I've gotten older, my body's filling out a little bit more in places and I just have gained more weight, where I was in denial for a while, and I'm sad that, all three of us have eating disorders. I'm outing you all right now with that. And because of my ED, I was in denial that my thighs were touching, and I would let myself suffer and be like, no, this is not happening to me. And then I changed my mindset, where how everything I've talked about of how the world has created itself to not be accommodating to people other than that stereotype. So shorts are not made properly for people whose thighs chafe. Attractions are not made for people who are larger. And so if you can take the power, be like, yep, I've got thighs that touch, but I'm going to prevent that from happening and make sure my day isn't miserable. Just know your body, because I didn't know mine for so long. And like Nicole said too, just trying to fit in, you suffer for it, and you put yourself, Kurt said too, mental trauma because of it. You put yourself in a traumatic place where if you know your body and you're confident in your body, you know that you might need some Chub Rub or some leggings, or you might not be able to last a whole day in a park. that's just
right. And it's not
knowing yourself.
It's not fucking embarrassing either, because you're human and it happens to every goddamn person.
Yep. So yeah, important one to talk about, because I know everybody knows how uncomfortable it can be in the theme parks to begin with. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, that ended on a very positive note.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
Alrighty, real quick before we let you guys out of our magically unstable universe, we have a super exciting announcement. If you follow us on Instagram, you already know because we posted it this past week. But we are doing something super special on the podcast in the upcoming months. So I would like Nick, if you want to talk about it, if you want to be the official announcement.
Oh my God, you guys. We are so freaking excited to do this. So if you've been listening to our podcast, you're probably sick and fucking tired of listening to us bitch about our problems. So we are so excited. We want to bring a larger spectrum of Disney community to Magically Unstable. So we are going to be reaching out to cast members to be featured. I'll explain that in a second, to be featured on our episodes. So it won't be every episode, but we are going to start sharing cast member therapy sessions on our podcast. So if you're listening and you're a cast member and you kind of have maybe a horrible situation that happened to you, something that happened to you on the job, former or current, a situation you'd like to share, we would love to hear from you. That could be if you actually want to be featured like us with your voice and your face and your name on our podcast, or anonymously. We'd be so happy to share your story without your name, especially if you're a cast member still working for Disney. And you don't want your name, you don't want your boss to find out about your story. But then we also would like to invite you to share something positive. So we want to hear your journey. We want to hear where you started, where you came from, what you did in the parks while you were there. We want to let you vent for your time. And then we want to also let you share a message with the Disney community, whether it be your coping session or just something magical that maybe happened to you while you were a cast member that helped kind of flip the light on your bad story. But we have a lovely form that if you are interested, you can either email us at magicallyunstablepod@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram. It's going to be a quick Google form just so we can kind of learn a little bit about you, kind of hear what you'd like to share on our podcast. And we would love to get you on. We cannot wait. We cannot wait to hear your guys' stories. So, that is what we're going to be starting.
Our biggest thing that, we kind of wanted to do this little cast member therapy session was mostly, we understand how much of a Disney experience revolves around cast members and how much you guys go through as cast members and what you do for us and how you create magic. And a lot of our experiences wouldn't be the same without you. And especially through the pandemic, you guys being furloughed, a lot of people have just gone through the ringer really and didn't really deserve it. So we wanted to make sure that you guys have a little special platform here on our podcast on Magically Unstable to just speak about your experience and have a safe space to do that. So we're super excited.
Hell yeah. I literally can't fucking wait. So
Same.
excited.
Yeah, so like Nick said, make sure you reach out to us at magicallyunstablepod@gmail.com or on our Instagram, Foreverland Fairy Tales. And if you want to make sure you're on track with our YouTube channel, Foreverland Fairy Tales on YouTube, we release videos every Monday, and our episodes on the podcast come out every Friday. So, like I said in the beginning, I'm Kurt.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Nicole.
Make sure you subscribe to us wherever you're listening, because we are always magically unstable. And we hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye. Stay magical, everybody.
Bye.